Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video today. And we got a really interesting topic right here. It is a response video I'm going to be doing to Digital Foundry's video. And they're actually asking, do we need a PS5 Pro / Xbox Series X enhanced console or a mid-console generation? And to just quickly answer that, I don't think we do. I think one of the interesting things about this current generation of games is that they're almost still kind of ahead of the curve as far as technological advances and just availability of things like 4K, higher refresh rates. I think things like this don't even account for the majority of people who own these consoles. Even going back to the Xbox 360 days, I had a friend who wasn't even aware that you could use HDMI cables, and he was still rocking the VGA cables for the longest. When he finally got HDMI, it's pretty much mind blown. But I think something similarly kind of applies to these new consoles. 4K is something that is becoming more and more common, but a lot of people are still holding on to their 1080p monitors or 1080p, 55-inch TVs. The reason why I think this is something that's pretty significant is that you're not really getting the full effect of these newer games. And I've had people tell me that they don't even see a difference in graphics for certain games. And it's because if you're using an old display with new graphics, yeah, the games may look a little bit better, but with that resolution being capped, it's not going to look that much better than the last generation. Another thing that I think really affects this generation of consoles is the massive chip shortage that happened essentially during the cycle of this. The PS5 and the Xbox Series X both came out in November of 2020, and fast forward, it is June of 2022, and there still are not that many games that are exclusive to either console. Most games are stuck in a cross-gen situation where you have the Call of Duties and the Battlefields, and a lot of the mainline games, even Elden Ring, are still on the base Xbox One, the base PS4, and then they're on everything else in between. I don't think a lot of these games have had their opportunity to shine yet. These consoles haven't had their opportunity to shine. There's some really nice looking games that have been able to benefit from cross-gen. For example, Ghost of Tsushima, which was a beautiful game, even on base PlayStation 4, which I played it on. And when I played it on PS5, it was absolutely amazing. But that is still considered a cross-generation game. Now, something like Ratchet and Clank, for example, those are true next-generation games. They're only for PS5, and they have reduced loading times, seamless transitions, a jump in graphical fidelity. And I think that's what actually defines next gen. Spider-Man Miles Morales, another example, a game that has multiple modes, whether it's performance, ray tracing, or a resolution, graphical fidelity type mode. And that reason in particular is why I don't actually think that we need a mid-generation upgrade yet. Because like I mentioned earlier, technology has not even caught up to these consoles yet. These consoles can actually do up to 8K, but we're not even going to talk about that. Realistically, they can do up to 4K and then up to 120 frames per second. A lot of TVs don't even have the ability to do 120. You're really going to be limited to monitors, and a lot of people that have those monitors are gamers that specifically went after those monitors. And even then, with those higher frame rates, now you have a lower graphical quality. It may only be 1440p, or it may only be a 1080p with a high frame rate. So now you have this thing where there hasn't been much of an actual graphical jump from, let's say, the Xbox Series X to, or the PS5 from the Xbox One X, which was still able to run games in 4K. I think the best solution to, pushing off these mid-generation consoles as much as possible is by literally giving us the option in all the games that we play. One of my favorite things about some of the games, and that started off with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, was you had the ability to pick your different modes. A game that I love and played like crazy, Monster Hunter World, you can have the graphic mode, you could have the resolution mode, and then you could have a essentially like a better foliage mode per se. And that gave me the option to play how I wanted to play. Now that game still kind of struggled to run at a full consistent 60 frames per second on last generation, but then when I played it on the new systems, it can essentially run all three modes flawlessly. And I think that's what these games have to start doing, is giving the player the option. Some people don't care about the graphics. Some people don't care about the frame rate. So they may want a balance mode. Some people want to see what ray tracing looks like, and they're willing to sacrifice the fidelity. There's a lot of different options, and I think that is the most important part moving forward for this generation in particular. I don't think things like 4K and a frame rate higher than 60 will not even be close to being normalized for at least another few years. I think you're still going to at least need 4 to 5 years before that even gets remotely close to being considered normal. But I think our next gen consoles are in a good place right now. They have a lot of power in them, and they can run these games pretty well. It's just a matter of, like I mentioned, giving us the option. Now, I do think a slim version would be nice. You know, having an Xbox Series X Slim or a PS5 Slim would be ideal because these consoles are massive. I think that's about it. I have nothing to say negatively about a, slim version of these consoles. But other than that, I think that's really my take on this. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. You think we should do a mid-generation upgrade? Do you think these consoles are fine? Do you even have the new consoles? Because that's another story. But once again, I appreciate it. Once again, shout out to my boy B Sniper for suggesting this video to me. I'm going to be done for the day. I hope y'all have a good day, and I will see y'all on the flip side, y'all. Deuces.